Regular meeting to order, October 20th. Roll call, please.
Trustee Sauter.
Here.
Trustee Saviano.
Here.
Trustee Kunze. Present. Trustee Mahoney.
Here.
Trustee Oakland.
Here.
Trustee Guma.
Here.
And President Pearson.
Here. Say the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We'll move on to public comment. Franco?
I have three. First one is Brian Dahl.
Brian Dahl, you here?
Good evening, Village President, Village Board. My name is Brian Dahl. I serve as President of the Fox Valley Building and Construction Trades Council, which represents union construction trades with the jurisdiction in Kane and Kendall County. Some of them are here this evening with me. I'm here tonight to express our strong support for the proposed Brinshore development at the former Hager Pottery site. This project represents a tremendous opportunity not only to revitalize a historic piece of East Dundee, but do it the right way with local skilled labor, fair wages, and a commitment to quality craftsmanship. Brinshore has a strong record of community-minded development. They've partnered successfully with local governments and labor organizations across Illinois to deliver projects that are both economically and socially responsible. Their approach aligns perfectly with what we believe in: good jobs, safe work sites, and development that benefits the community long after construction is complete. We recognize that growth must be done responsibly, and we believe Brinshore's proposal achieves the balance, honoring the history of the site while helping to build East Dundee's future. On behalf of our members and their families, I respectfully ask that you approve this project. Let's put local people to work, restore life to a historic property, and show what it means when a community, a developer, and labor all work together towards the same goal. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next person is Bill Schmid.
Hey, everybody. I just want to say a couple things. You guys saw the people, the local people in our area that actually saw what they wanted as far as they don't want this project. And I think as a group, you know what I'm saying, we got 8 people here deciding something. And I think at least you should have a referendum on this project, you know what I'm saying, so people can see it. I understand there's plenty of time to build. First we need to, you know what I'm saying, take down the building. You know what I'm saying, we could get rid of the trees. It's a valuable piece of property for our village. We just don't need low-income housing in our town. We have 2 projects already. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who else?
Third person is Richard Crumsey.
How you doing? I live up just maybe a couple blocks away from where this proposed building's gonna be done. I've been in this village for 50 years. My wife's been in the village her whole life, 70 years. And you guys have done a great job revitalizing the downtown district. It's beautiful, right, from where it used to be. I can't disagree with anything that's happened. But this is wrong for the village in my mind. You know, you're gonna come on a bike trail and you're gonna go through this apartment complex before you go to the beautiful downtown district. I think there's better uses for that property. Why don't you guys just take the building down and clear it out, put some grass in and see what else is out there. I just think it's being rushed from what I can see right now, and I don't think we need more apartment buildings. We've got plenty of apartments now, so it's just my opinion. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did we have anyone else that wanted to speak that didn't fill out a form? Okay. Moving on to consent agenda. Entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I will move to approve the regular village board meeting minutes dated October 6th, 2025. I will move to accept the warrants list in the amount of $252,620.33. I'll move to approve a resolution approving an agreement with Commonwealth Edison Company to bury overhead electric utility facilities along Barrington Avenue and 3rd Street right-of-way. And I will move to approve a resolution approving and ratifying the village president's execution of the First Amendment to the Declaration of Use Restriction for the parking garage located at 304 Hill/309 Jackson.
A second?
Okay. Roll call?
Trustee Sauter,
Yes.
trustee Saviano,
Yes.
trustee Kunzi,
Yes.
trustee Mahoney,
Yes.
trustee Oakland,
Yes.
trustee Guma.
Yes.
All right, moving on. Discussion and direction regarding the concept review of the proposal for Hager's site. Come on up.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
President Pearson, trustees, appreciate your time tonight, and thank you, everybody, for having us back to introduce and reintroduce the Maiden Lane development and to talk about some of the changes that we've made since the last presentation. I know most of you know who I am. We've been here 3 times. We've submitted a proposal to the village. Just a quick overview. My name is Mike Rowan. I'm the Senior Vice President of Bridgeshore Development. Bridgeshore's been around since 1994. We have offices all over the nation. We've constructed over 11,000 units of housing throughout the nation. We're active in 17 states. Our calling card is really, we work with communities to try to design the best residential developments as possible. We have a long-term approach that's based upon heart, health, education, art, recreation, and technology, and we incorporate that into all of our developments. We are long-term owners. We're always there for at least 30 years, if not longer. I'm having trouble moving.
It's a PDF, so it's not gonna move forward. You have
Oh.
to move it down.
On the right side, there's some
Oh,
arrows.
thank you.
There you go.
When we originally proposed the project, our goal was to create the most welcoming community as possible, understanding that, the village of East Dundee is a really tight-knit community. We wanted to integrate the design as best as possible into the neighborhood. We understand that there is a brownfield site that needs to be cleaned up. We wanted to create a design that's walkable, human scale, that fits into the neighborhood as best as possible. Also while honoring the long-term Hager plant that's been there forever, that has a lot of history associated with it. And also the relationship to the Fox River and to the bike trail. We did our best in designing the project as best as possible to fit into the neighborhood. So our original submission was back in November of 2024. We have had 2 meetings with the village board since then, along with a community meeting and open house meeting where we had public comment. And we want to let you know that we've heard your comments, and we've tried to revise the plan as best as possible to hear what you want most. Changes to the project include a reduction of the overall unit count from 133 units, 136 units, I believe, to what is now 96 units. Removal of the mid-rise apartment buildings. Originally, we had proposed a cul-de-sac for River Street. Now we're proposing a 2-way street that goes through the site. And also having more of a human scale, a mix of 2- and 3-story townhomes with and without garages to create more parking.
Are these all rentals?
Yeah. So some of the consistent features that we've kept with the project: central plaza, integration with a new park, adaptive reuse of the existing building, and the 2-story townhomes along the northern and eastern edges. So here's the original site. You can see the multifamily buildings here on the western edge. We've since eliminated those. We've also created And instead of cul-de-sac, we've heard what you're saying, and we've built in the two-way street. Here was the original design. Here's our various alternatives that we've presented to the village. The first one is our original plan. Second one included more townhomes, but with a cul-de-sac. Third one is even more townhomes instead of any multifamily building and the cul-de-sac. And now we have our final proposed plan, which integrates the new River Street as a two-way street, less dense housing in the form of townhomes, 95 total units with 120 off-street parking spaces.
Mike, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
With regards to the 120 parking spaces, does that include the parking spaces that are included in the garage, or is that just the
does.
surface?
It does,
Okay,
yep.
thank you.
They're just not all surface parking.
Okay.
So you can see townhomes up here north of Main Lane and townhomes that we've maintained that are abutting the rest of the neighborhood to keep with the scale of the rest of the neighborhood. We still have maintained the multifamily building, the adaptive reuse of the existing building here, and the community center that we've originally proposed. In the center of the site is the Preservation Plaza that links to hopefully a proposed park on the west side that abuts the Fox River. Some precedent images of townhomes that we've built before throughout the nation. Here are some in Norfolk, in Omaha, Urbana, Kansas City. A few more precedent images of three-story townhomes. And then our focus on workforce housing, as I described before, our main sources of financing are the competitive tax credits that we get at the Illinois Housing Development Authority. So that requires us to build in a mix of affordability for workforce housing. So 20% of units at 30% AMI, 60% of units at 60% AMI, and 20% market rate units. This is how we finance our developments. We do mixed income housing, that's what Bridgeport does. And this is how we maximize the housing options for residents of the community. And you can see also that the 119,000 is the area median income of the Chicago metropolitan area. And so the 60% units are a little bit below that, but are somewhat similar. So project highlights. We've proposed primarily townhomes, except for the adaptive reuse of the existing building. Elevator units in the existing building, the adaptive reuse, which we hope to market to seniors. Creation of new workforce housing units, existing Preservation Plaza, hopefully the integration of a new park that will be built in the future, conversion of River Street to a two-way, and a resident community center.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do you have like a breakdown of so there's gonna be 19 units in that 30%?
Sure.
Do you have a breakdown of how many one bedrooms, how many two bedrooms, and how many three bedrooms are within that 30%?
I do not right now. Very preliminary plans right now. So that's it. I just want to say I appreciate the opportunity to come back and present this plan to the board and to the community. I know this is very preliminary. applying for the financing takes a really long time. Gathering the financing takes a really long time. And I'm sure there will be more iterations of this development plan as we fine tune it. But I think right now, I think what we're asking for the board's support on is to just, so we can formally engage. Because right now, we're just kind of spinning our wheels and we're not really getting very far. Once we can engage, we can start making applications, we can start fine tuning plans, we can make applications for financing. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
So the income level that it's based on is the broader area, but if we are closer to 80,000, so that means we're at like 72% of what the area is in East Dundee, so then these 60% are kind of close to our East Dundee market, or how does that compare to East Dundee versus the broader
I
market?
don't know specifically East Dundee's specific median income. I just know what's published. I think it's somewhere out there in the census data, it's out there.
It's like
But I think you're right.
87,000.
80 or something.
I think 80 to 87.
Okay, so, yeah, 80,000 is the area median income for East Dundee. These 60% AMI units would be very close to that.
Yeah, because by my calculations, 70% is where we are, so 60% is just like 10% below
Yeah.
what the East Dundee home is currently. So that means only 20% of the units would actually be lower than what the East Dundee market is, except for that middle chunk would be 10% lower than the average home.
That's right.
Are any of these steps made?
We have not made any commitments about Section 8 at all. Section 8 sometimes does help with bringing up the income and supporting the debt, but right now we have not committed to that.
Okay, we're not doing public comment, and it's not really designed for a Q&A, so we already did that. We're just listening to the developer and letting the board members ask questions.
Mike, you mentioned 2-story townhomes and 3-story townhomes.
Yeah.
Can you show on the
Sure.
map where you intended to place the 3-story townhomes? And then the adaptive reuse is that yellow section?
So
of
here
the-
are the 3-story townhomes.
Okay,
North of Maiden Lane. 2-story townhomes are the yellow
okay,
townhomes that surround the site.
cool.
And then the adaptive reuse is this G building, which is the white building on the site. And we
Mhm.
thought it would be really cool to preserve it and to
Yeah.
reuse it as hopefully senior housing. We can't commit to that, we can't specify
Right.
senior housing, but.
And is that like a 3-story? And
Pardon me?
are you picturing that as a 3-story?
Well,
building
it's,
as well, or
this one
2-story?
is adaptive reuse, so we just rehab
However,
it.
okay.
Yeah,
But it is current.
is it? Okay, yeah. And then
It is.
this building is an existing building at the site. It's a kind of a low slung, building with a see-through roof, and we envision that as a community space, community area.
Mike, with the community area, what did you guys have kind of specifically in mind inside of that for like amenities?
We always have management offices for staff who manage the development. So we typically have, for a development this size, we would have probably three full-time staff.
Oh, really?
One manager, one assistant manager, maintenance, probably 4, so maintenance and a super. So we'd have those offices, we'd have community rooms, we'd have fitness, we always do fitness, we have meeting rooms.
So is it 24-hour staffed facility? All
No. it won't
right,
be
just kind of
24.
normal working
Just
hours,
normal
but
working
full-time?
hours, yeah, but
Okay.
staff are on call.
Okay,
So if something happens, you know,
very cool.
they can respond.
And then I had one more question
Yeah.
about the 2-story flats. I'm just not familiar with what those might be. Do you have any pictures or anything?
Yeah.
Which
Pardon me,
ones-
I'm sorry.
Sorry, which ones are they? They're, or all of them are?
All.
Yeah, the
Okay, cool.
two-story flats.
All right, perfect, sorry, missed that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, the idea would be, under ADA rules, a portion of every building type, so we're using federal state resources, has to meet ADA requirements.
Oh, that's what,
These are a ton of units, so inherently they're vertical. So to comply with that, a chunk of each town kind of has to
Be a flat.
So they'll look like townhomes, but a handful of units are
yeah.
more true apartments.
Okay.
Stacked up, so the bottom, the ground floor units truly fully accessible. They'll look just,
No, I wasn't aware of that, which is really neat, so that we'd be able to house people that couldn't use
Can't
traditional
climb
housing.
stairs,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Might be in a wheelchair.
And then the units with the garages are the ones that are north of Maiden Lane, or?
Yeah, that's correct. We would have under garage parking.
Okay.
And the way you're making it two-way on River Street, that would actually alleviate traffic on Van Buren because more people will do a straight shot up of that,
That's right.
or at least half and half.
That's right.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
So northbound traffic.
Yeah, because right now
Could
it's one way.
handle-
This will be a lot
Right.
more traffic going up through there.
I did want to mention that the consultant that is doing the 72 corridor study that's evaluating the three intersections from the river all the way to where 68 meets 72, they're coming back on December 2nd to present their proposal for how we can integrate two-way the entire stretch of river. So the crux of that study was really to address the problems with the intersection at River and 72 and also to figure out a solution to creating a two-way into this area. And they've come up with some really creative solutions, and those will be discussed at the board meeting on December 1st.
Is that why you guys bought vans?
That was part of the thinking when the village board did purchase that, yes.
And so, are there any thoughts on that intersection where people come and it's a slight T, and would that ever be straightened out to make it more through, or we want to keep it more split so that they have to choose and go either way, and we're kind of slowing them down, which I think is good. But I'd like to think of ways to do more traffic calming. Like I do like that it pulls people off of Van Buren, but also it's a shortcut going south, so slowing it down so less people cut through the residential neighborhood. But I do see that as a big improvement.
Are there any opportunities for there to be ownership?
The way we do business at Brinshore, we do not do ownership. It's just our model. So we do rental housing.
You know, I think that Brinshore, you guys, you know, you do good work. I think that all of this plan is well thought out. Definitely you've done a good job of reacting to what the residents have asked for.
Appreciate it.
I still don't understand. I guess I still don't see, when I think of workforce housing, I think of housing that is built in I wouldn't say, well, in an upper class area that needs workers for that area. And so you put in workforce housing in that area specifically. We already are a working class town. I mean, we don't need to import workers to this area for, you know, to provide people to work around here. People that work around here live around here already. We are, you know, we have lower rents around here already. I just don't know that it's the right solution for us.
Sure. I mean, I think I would say
And-
that, you know,
And the other thing is, and I'm sorry,
Sure. No,
I mean,
go
you
ahead.
can continue,
Go
but,
ahead.
you know, and it really is, you know, for me personally, when I think of workforce housing, I think of working class people. You know, the number one way for working class people to move up and to become more like middle class is home ownership. And this takes that away from that. So, you know, I don't think I'm in on this right now. And that's just kind of where I'm at.
I would say to you, first, it's good to keep rents low so people can, you know, like, use more of their income to save for a down payment or to pay for education and not be rent burdened or housing burdened. So that's a good thing, like, keeping rents low allows people to save and not have trouble economically.
I understand.
And I think regarding your statement about workforce housing, all the people, when we income qualify them, have to have jobs.
Right. No, I understand that.
And so they may be, you know, they may work at Target, they may work at a gas station, they may be a teacher who's just starting out, they might be a nurse who's starting out, but those rents are intended to help those people save and not be rent burdened.
I was also just going to add, so a couple weeks ago I participated in a study that Kane County has commissioned with Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning. And it's been commissioned because there's a housing affordability crisis in Kane County and there's a massive shortage of housing. And I see Jarrett's here from the county, so you could speak to this if you want to at some point. But basically CMEP has evaluated East Dundee, West Dundee, the entire region of Kane County, and laid out what they see as the characteristics of rent burden across the county and how the majority of the people that work in the county can't live in the county because there's no housing available. So when we talk about things like upward growth and how can somebody generate intergenerational wealth through housing by purchasing it, that's something that was available to people in a prior generation that is no longer available to people. Airbnb came along, took off 30% of all housing units immediately. We stopped building after 2008. There's really like no construction is happening except luxury housing if it's going to be for sale. And so we're talking about a county where the average median income is approximately $80,000, even though the region is $110,000, and we have no housing being built except that is at the $500,000 level and above. And then we have historically high interest rates of 7% or more. Mm-hmm. So if you're a family of 4 with 2 people working in the household with 2 kids in school, you're going to be spending $2,500 a month just on interest before you get to the point where you can actually pay any principal down on a home. And that's if you can find a home to buy. Right now in East Dundee, there's maybe 13 homes for sale. All of them are $300,000. It's very expensive to live. Part of the reason that local government has a growing role in housing affordability is because the scales got tipped a while ago. There just isn't anywhere for anybody to live affordably. And this community has some very good housing options when they become available. There's no availability right now. When CMEP did their whole presentation about East Dundee specifically, they talked about how many households are currently rent burdened, how many households continue to lose their housing because they are getting taken offline for flips, renovations, whatever. And it's a sad story. It's not a good story for the generations that are coming up behind us. And there's a lot of different solutions to that problem, and all we can do is incrementally try to attack it a little bit at a time, but we're talking about needles in a haystack. I mean, we can't really do enough, we can't do it fast enough, and we can't do it well enough. But what we can do is something. And this board has difficult decisions to make regarding this property, and none of them are good. And I think one of the things that separates this from the other property, or the other proposals that we received, is the fact that the density was the lowest, and the opportunities provided are pretty spectacular, and at this point, the other options were far more dense, and they really were infeasible. So I think as we move forward, we have to be thoughtful about sort of the legacy we're leaving behind to the next generation, and how will this community look 20 years from now? Because that's what that CMAP study was looking at. Like, there's a lot of people in this community who want to continue to live here, who will be priced out. And I think that that is something that's very concerning.
So my biggest concern is we have this amazing property and like one chance to get it right. You know, this is a rare opportunity to have a site like this. And it's putting all our eggs in a rental basket. The all thing is what I'm struggling with. I would like to see, at the very least, some chances of ownership in the property, because that's just, I feel like then it's more well-rounded of a space for more people. It's the all rental. You know, my grandpa always said everything in moderation, but so that's where I struggle, honestly, with it. We have one chance, and it's all rental. I'm having a hard time with that one.
So we went through this a lot with you, obviously. 136 units, I think we were at. We didn't have the parking at the time. You had the one road going both ways, which is Hager. It did come down. It's at 96, which is better. It's not great, but it's better. But keep in mind, we also need to have people here. You know, we all want a grocery store. Well, we can't get a grocery store because we don't have the citizens. We don't have the people here living here in town. So we do want other things. We want our water bills lower. Well, we can't just put in 6 homes and expect that to drop our water bill either. So there's good and bad. I see both sides with it. One of the things I brought up is, can we market seniors, because that's going to help with, one, it's a TIF district, so we're not paying into the schools. Seniors aren't going to bring kids. Seniors aren't going to have all the cars. Seniors aren't going to bring the crime. I grew up around here too. I'm afraid, I do know we have a lot of Section 8 in town. Well, we do have a subdivision, or a street, if you will. But we do have a lot of rentals where there are Section 8 and they're not causing any problems. I'm afraid of putting them all in one area, or just 13 or 13%, whatever it was. Is that going to be contagious and grow? That's my concern. Will it grow, or what's going to keep it from, like we all know Foxview, that's rental apartments too, and they're going to be sitting on site and it grows. So that's the only concern I have. I think it's a lot better of a proposal. It's gotten better, but that's my opinion. You brought up senior center. What does that involve?
Well, our financing allows for 100% seniors. We're not sure there's a real market there for 100% seniors. So we'd have to look into that. But
are you allowed to market just to them, or no?
No, we wouldn't be able to do that unless we, when we made the application, we said this is exclusively a senior complex, 100% seniors. But we couldn't actively, say this is family housing and market it to seniors. But I mean, there is a way to kind of massage it a little bit, and say, hey, we got an elevator building. This is good for seniors.
Okay. Any other questions, discussions? We're going to basically need a consensus. Are we moving forward with Brenshore or not?
Well, I want to kind of come in with like a little bit of like the home ownership. So like, I talked about it for a while, home ownership. I think it's really important. The problem with this property is we have a huge building on it. And in order to get it there where we could get to lots, we're getting rid of a $5 million, if not more, problem. They have a solution, and it also is a pathway for the community to home ownership. I remember when I was in my early 20s, I went back to my mom's house. My wife stayed in a small apartment in Waukegan. She taught in Grays Lake because that's where she could afford to live, was Waukegan. We saved up our money and we moved to Gurnee. We needed the spot. And I think this reminds me of our situation, but for somebody that didn't have the same resources I have. So I like that part of it. And I do believe it leads to more home ownership in our community. And I believe the numbers, when I first was looking into this project, I felt a little overwhelmed with the income values. But then as the facts started coming in and we started seeing that they were a much higher standard that you guys use as an AMI than ours, and I started looking at my story compared to what's available, and we ran the bills at our house. We bought our house in 19 before all the stuff changed. And your 3-bedroom unit with the 60% AMI is $100 more than all my bills combined before you get to luxuries. So that's my taxes, my flood insurance, all of it, which is eye-opening to me because I was like, in this market, I wouldn't be able to live here. So it's nice to see that we do have a solution coming. I understand that it's a big change for our community. One of the things I really like seeing on this new one is the two-way on River. I was also worried about the school. Emmanuel Lutheran has a lot of children that cross the street from their school to the church. And I feel like this is a way we could adapt to move traffic to the west side where it's not in that intersection. I don't know if there's a way to connect their flashing light with like an arrow down at Williams that says, you know, traffic ahead when flashing so that people turn left. Because it is a concern. The police are there. I think the village does an amazing job of keeping those children safe. But when we removed the road, it did heighten the amount of traffic, and there was no other way of explaining that. But this is a good solution. So I'm really liking where it went, and I feel like we're moving in the positive direction. So obviously finishes, facades, things like that haven't been thought of at this point, correct? So that's all I got to say. Thanks.
I have a question. I thought we were doing some more extensive testing of the soil and the land over at Hager. I haven't seen any results from that or anything about it.
We haven't received the results yet for the main parcel,
Okay.
so we're hoping to have that in the next couple weeks.
I thought we were kind of waiting on that to see where we were going with all this.
I mean,
I thought that was the purpose in doing that.
the additional testing will inform in more detail what kind of remediation is necessary. What it's not going to tell us is that there isn't any problems at the site. You know, we've talked about this a lot. The site is a designated brownfield. It is going to require a lot of remediation. Part of the reason that there are those 2-story townhomes with the surface parking is because there's a lot of soil that's going to need to be encapsulated on the site instead of dug up and hauled away. If we dig it up and haul away, it's significantly more expensive. So we're hoping to get that report in the next couple weeks. When we get it, we'll put it on the website. It will be available. But they've already completed the lead and asbestos, but we haven't yet had a meeting with the environmental consultant to have them explain to us their findings. So we're going to do it all in one fell swoop when we get the soil and water boring, or soil borings and water testing from the main site. But you know, there is an underground storage tank on the site that needs to be dug up and removed. There's a whole host of issues with the site, and you know, Matt referred to it earlier. If this was just a clean piece of dirt and we could just say, hey, come build us something, we'd get 10 people lined up to build luxury housing on this site because they could make a profit. But right now, it is a contaminated site. It is going to require a lot of remediation, and the village doesn't have the money or the bandwidth or the wherewithal to take that on. We need somebody else to take on that risk and take on that liability and to build something here that can be productive and can be put on the tax rolls. There's a lot of risk that we're taking on a day-to-day basis just by holding this site and hoping that nothing bad happens. You know, those are the kinds of things that keep me up at night. Is somebody going to get hurt inside the building? Is there going to be a fire and the fire department's going to have to respond, and maybe somebody gets hurt trying to put out a fire? Like there's a lot of issues with the building, and the longer we hold it, the more problems have the ability to create themselves. We've had problems with people cutting the fence, getting in there, stealing things. It's a constant vigilantism that is required to secure that building and to keep people out of it. And it's a losing battle, but it is what it is. We own this building, we need to do something with it, and it's a very complicated problem to solve with not a lot of great solutions. I wish I had more options for you, but I don't. So if there's other ideas for increasing revenue, raising taxes, doing whatever we need to do to pour money into the site so that we can do something different, I'm open to hearing them. But so far, it's just been the proposal we have is the
Erica,
best
if I may
proposal.
say something too. Brinshore, on all of our sites, practically all of them, we work with the IAPA, we work with consultants, we work with demo contractors. We know how to navigate the process for environmental cleanup. And so that's always integrated into our development scope.
So the other thing is, we were gonna look into some EPA grants. Have we heard anything about any of those?
So we spoke with a consultant a couple weeks ago who was sharing with us that the state of Illinois put many of their EPA grants on hold. And then he said that there was a possibility that they would reopen that, and that there was talk of it, and that would be reopened maybe earlier in or next spring. But the maximum amount of that grant is like $350,000. So that was deemed to be not really, I mean, we'll try, but, and also, then there's the federal brownfield grant, which everything at the federal level has been unreliable. So we don't really have any good options in terms of grants at this point in time, but we will continue to vigilantly search for them.
So if Brinshore gets grants and we're giving them all of our tax incentives, will they rebate those grants back to the village?
We would those grants would be for the cleanup, and we would do the cleanup. And so we would use those grants to fund the cleanup.
Okay, but if we're guaranteeing TIF money and other incentives, and you get a bunch of grants from the state and the federal,
Those would be used in the scope of the cleanup.
Would it be offset in a TIF? I think maybe is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In lieu of TIF money.
Yeah.
So one thing that we were talking about or wanting to hear, like the community wanted to see single-family homes, and we do have the brownfield, and we're told verbally that would cost way more. Like the village gets $5 million cleaned up almost for free using TIF money and other incentives with this, but we would otherwise be spending $5 million. Can we see as just like a very rough proposal of single-family homes would cost this much, so that we can see, oh, that would cost the village $5 million. We all want it more, but we don't have $5 million, so I see it as that right now. Like, this is a very good option as far as what is affordable. But if we had the revenue to fund whatever we wanted, then single family seems great. But if we can't, do we want to leave this brownfield with the barbed wire around it, with asbestos in it, collapsing and blowing into people's yards with their kids? Like, I feel like something has to be cleaned up and not just left because it's not everyone's favorite. If it's impossible, then we should move on to another. But I would like to see single-family homes that would cost this much, and then we could say that's is or is not in our budget. So then we could commit to moving on from that idea if it's just not possible.
I don't think any developer is gonna touch it until it's cleaned up,
Right.
so. And that's anywhere between, what, 3 to 5 million, what you're thinking, 3 to 5 million, just to clean it all up and take away the building.
Yeah, but we haven't gotten an official quote yet.
No, we haven't yet.
And
That's,
this is
that
all-
was one of the things I was asking for, and that's what we're doing.
This is all conjecture.
Yep, we wanted to check.
Speculating $3 million, $5 million, we have no idea.
Correct.
Could be 500,000.
Well.
Just saying, we have no idea.
Right.
Like, we have wild guesses and estimates.
I'm just saying, there was an additional.
Can you come to the
Podium.
Appreciate it. Just jumping in, there was the initial phase 1/partial phase 2 done, and then we had
some demo contractors and environmental folks look at it, and that's where the 3 to 5 million number came from. So just to clarify, it's not totally pulling out of the air. It's based on, you know, what
We still don't have the testing results back.
we do have the phase 1 and partial phase 2. We don't have the full phase 2, but I mean, from our experience at least, I wouldn't expect that you're gonna see massive improvement from that.
You mean a reduction in the amount that would cost to clean it up? Okay, got it.
There's kind of also the factor that if you went to sell single-family lots that were a brownfield, they might not be the most marketable, even if it was cleaned up.
So what do we got there, 9 acres? Is there 9 acres there?
7.
7 acres. What's our ordinance say per acre? 8, 7 or 8?
If we wanted to conform to
49.
current single-family
it's
zoning,
one.
it would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 to 55 houses. If the average tax bill on a house is $8,500, which is pretty high for this area,
Yeah.
you're talking about $425,000 a year in property taxes that would have to somehow pay for millions of dollars in remediation costs, and you'd have to have buyers who would want to buy these properties thinking that if the village were to take on this cleanup, that we did it perfectly. And part of the risk in that is people honestly like to sue village governments, and if there's any thought that we didn't do everything perfectly by the book, somebody will sue us, multiple people may sue us, people may sue us 10 years from now, people may sue us 20 years from now. People don't need a reason to sue us, people sue us all the time. If we take this remediation on ourselves and try to execute it, we can try that. It's not a great solution. I would not recommend it. I think that it is inherent with risk that puts the village in a very difficult position to try to defend itself for the next 30 years. I'm not saying that this cleanup can't be done well. I think it can be done well by people who know what they're doing and professionals, and you know that can be hired. But when the village takes on that role of contracting with somebody to clean something up, then we open ourselves up to liability. And it would be pretty easy for somebody to try to bankrupt this village by suing us if we tried to take this cleanup on ourselves. It's a known brownfield site. Like I said, even if we check every box and do everything right, it doesn't mean that somebody is not going to try to make a claim, or several people are going to try to make a claim. And that's why, if there was a developer out there who said, I can build single-family homes on this lot and I can make a profit, I think we would have seen them by now. And like I said, even if the best case scenario is $3 million, which I don't think it is, $425,000 a year will take lots of years to pay back, and there will be lots of interest on that loan. And we would be setting the village up to be in the financial mess it was in 10 years ago. The village has worked really hard to dig out of the financial hole that they were in, to put us in a position today to be able to meet our obligations, to pay our bills, to pay our police pension, to even do some nice things every once in a while. But if we continue to just pour money into this project without having any other revenue to offset it, or any increase in taxes, or any increase in everything else that we could possibly think of, there's just no good solution. And even at the end of that, if we did do that, there would still be situations that we'd find ourselves in where we would be thinking, did we do the right thing? So I don't really know how to phrase that then. I look at those median income numbers that he was showing earlier, and the constant complaint is, this idea that this is low-income housing. It's 80% market rate if you look at the numbers. We're talking about 13 to 20 units set aside for people who probably mostly will have somebody disabled in their family, will need to use those handicapped accessible units. There's just a lot of good things in this project, and a lot of risk that gets taken off the village if we proceed with it. But if we don't want to proceed with it, that's an option too. I'm going to need a lot of feedback on how we move forward from here.
I haven't had a chance to speak yet.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. No, and I'm glad you
did.
did. I'm glad you did. I just wanted to get in before we close things up. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for listening to the community who really gave a lot of feedback to you. even though you weren't allowed to properly present your revised plan at that meeting. So thank you again for going through the first, the second, and the third. I'm in agreement that, and I'm very appreciative of getting River Street, South River Street, opened up, going two-way. In fact, I think that could end up alleviating some traffic that isn't school-related on Van Buren, that is currently on Van Buren during the school year and during when school is in session. I really appreciate the reduction in units. Also, land use-wise and aesthetically, I appreciate the way that the units north of Maiden were rotated along River and Van Buren to face the street. So again, it looked a little bit more neighborly and not such a monolith of a block, and breaking up all these buildings that were much longer runs into smaller blocks. I think it's going to fit in. It'll fit in with the neighborhood a lot more. And while I would, I agree with everything that CMAP found. I've been hearing that too, and I've got family, a lot of nieces and nephews that are looking into trying to have graduated from college and trying to look at home ownership and living situations. And it's hard. It is really, really difficult, and they are having a hard time. And there's more of them that have had to live at home longer than they wanted to because there isn't the housing. There is a housing shortage in the United States as well as in here. So having this be a beautiful community that people could start out their home ownership, or not home ownership, but living outside of the family home, and for a short-term amount of time or a long-term amount of time is something that can be really positive for the community, and bringing in more townhomes. And I wasn't aware that you guys were going to probably bring in at least 4 full-time jobs as a part of this community, which would not be the case in a kind of single-family home ownership type of situation. So I really like where it's come. I like that you've listened.
Appreciate it.
And
So let me clarify. So tonight is about whether we're going to continue moving forward with Brinshaw, or we scrap the deal and start all over, correct? Is that where we're at? Yes. So if we say, yes, let's move forward with Brinshaw, what's that look like? That doesn't mean we're in contract? What is
No.
that? Just what's that mean?
We would start to negotiate a contract and a development agreement, and kind of what the terms of that agreement would look like, and to benefit both parties. It would take some time, but we would just start to negotiate what that contract would look like.
If we went through with it,
Mhm.
obviously.
It would also allow us to start doing plans in earnest, putting together financing plans, working with the village to site
But it
design.
doesn't make it, we don't have to go with it.
We have, this process is super lengthy. It literally takes years. We make it, if we're successful in our first competitive application, we're talking 5 years until it's built. Oftentimes those first competitive applications take multiple rounds because you just don't, you need to gain momentum to make it feasible.
Okay.
so I have a question then in that regard. We have been talking about how dangerous the building is at this point for the community at large, and for anybody trying to be in that. If we were to be able to come to an agreement that we liked, is there, as through the process of putting together the financing and everything else, a possibility to demo that building, for Brinshore to demo that building and not wait the 5 years, prior to something like that? Would that be something that you've done before, or that you can look at doing, or?
Typically, we don't do that, because the financing rules state you can't incur costs before actual closing and construction starts. But if the village wanted to do it outside of our project scope, of course, that would be fine. But if it was part of our scope and we were to include those demo costs and those environmental cleanup costs as part of our development budget, we couldn't do that until we closed on the project and started construction.
Right, and what would the timing look like that, of closing on the project and starting the
It's
construction?
like
5
the
years?
6 years, like I was
Okay.
talking about.
But,
And actually, I should say, it's not, it's 6 years until it's fully built. So we could
Right.
start construction, like if we made an application, let's say next year, we could be under construction in like 2 years.
okay.
And then it would be fully built 2 years later.
But if this is part of the TIF, right? So if we are part of the TIF, can the agreement be that if they're incurring costs, then those costs could be reimbursable to Brinshore? Or they would be eligible, but there wouldn't be I'm sorry, I'm talking out loud now.
That's all right.
There wouldn't be an improvement in
That's
the EAV because it's still,
Like, we could
Undeveloped.
incur like design costs, like
Yeah.
costs for consultants,
mhm.
but we couldn't actually start construction
costs.
and have it be part of the development budget.
Okay.
So it would have to be a different company and incurred by us,
That's right.
and then
That's right.
Yeah.
totally separate from you.
That's right.
Now, Erica, is there a way to do that using our TIF if we were under contract with them? Would that be enough to build a TIF to say we had enough runway because the values of the buildings would be enough? Do you,
I think, village attorney can weigh in on that one, but go ahead and then I'll add on.
okay.
Can you rephrase what you're asking?
So basically what I was saying is we're gonna use a TIF to
Mhm.
pay for the demo. If we were under contract with Brinshore and waiting for the process to continue, would we be able to incur those costs, charge them to the TIF?
As the
before-
village?
As the village, like, would we be able to say that TIF has enough runway, like it has a plan? Would we be able to create it in order to remove the building?
I believe the answer is yes, but I would need to double check. But I believe you
And
can
the
start to
village would pay
incur.
for that?
It would, in that case, it would have to incur a loan and then be paid back by the TIF in that idea.
Then why wouldn't we just do it ourselves and not depend on Brinshore for that?
Because you wouldn't have enough runway in the TIF if you did something different. Like, we would have an actual value of the property that we could use to create the TIF. And if we don't have a value to the property, we can't make the TIF, correct? Of like the future development, because we're using the future tax revenue for the TIF. So, just a thought.
But that would open us up to possible
Additional
litigation that
liability.
Erica's talking about.
Yeah.
In order to make the project viable, the TIF is necessary to offset the remediation costs. So if we were to create the TIF with the project being the funding source for the TIF, we do this a lot in other TIFs. We're planning to do this for the lumberyard. We would give the developer some kind of upfront loan. The developer would then do whatever they need to do to remediate the site or get the site ready for construction, and then, the TIF would pay the developer back for the loan. It's a similar thing we could do in this scenario. So there are ways to approach it where those costs could be TIF eligible and Brinshore could take it on as part of their overall project. What Michael was saying is sort of just technicalities. If they're building the demolition cost into the project cost and financing it, it's not going to be part of the finance portion of the project. But if that's what the village's contribution is, then it could be part of those project costs. If that makes sense.
I just want to say, Erica, I don't like, obviously, we could be sued in the future, but that feels really like fear mongering to be very,
Scott, I agree.
honest.
I was gonna say that,
And, you know, we're talking about the safety of the building, and I understand that, but if we start to look at doing something to the building ourselves, it might take 2 or 3 years, but that's what we're looking at right now anyways, is 2 or 3 years is what I'm hearing to get that building down anyway. So I don't know that it's necessarily, I understand that it's saving us the headache and it's saving us the liability, but I don't think it's
fear mongering. I think that's her job, is to give us both sides of it.
I agree.
absolutely, but I just feel like it was presented more as something that is going to happen, you know? And who would be the litigant in that situation? People that are buying property in there?
well, also, if you hire a professional company to do something, then you make that part of the deal. Listen, we're paying you to mitigate the soil, this is your responsibility if something goes wrong. Much the same as they're gonna take on the responsibility if they do the mitigation. So are you saying just because they do the mitigation, the village can still be sued?
I'm saying in 25 years of working for local government, I've seen people sue villages for tripping on a sidewalk that had a crack this big on it. And oftentimes, it's cheaper to just settle than it is to litigate. And we have litigated several cases in the last 5 years, frivolous cases involving the police, frivolous cases involving properties that the village bought 10 years ago, never used, and then had to pay out settlements for because paperwork wasn't done properly in the past or whatever reason. I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm trying to advise the village board on the risks and the benefits of the various scenarios that are before you. And I can count where we're at right now. It looks like there is not consensus to proceed with this project. And if we don't have consensus to proceed with this project, then I need feedback from the village board on where we're gonna get the money to clean up this site, because if there is no project, there is no increment in the TIF to pay back the remediation costs. So the project, the site will just sit there, because we don't have the money to tear the buildings down unless we wanna take out a loan, and I don't know how we're gonna pay that loan back with interest. So it's not like I have all these other options that I can present to you. I'm giving you the best advice that I have at present without any other, I haven't heard any revenue sources that we can do to pay for the cleanup of this site so that we could do something different with it other than the project that is before us. And next 2 weeks from now, we're gonna talk about raising water rates, we're gonna talk about raising sewer rates, because the infrastructure in this community is aging. We've been around a long time. We need to fix our water system, we need to fix our wastewater pipes. All of that stuff has cost to it, which we are all responsible for addressing. And there is also a plethora of other road projects. You know, the breadth and depth of what the village undertakes on a daily basis is, you know, we need lead service lines are gonna be replaced, and the village board last fall decided that the village should take on the responsibility for paying for all of those lead service line replacements, which is a great thing. But again, that comes with a cost. So if we're gonna do lead service lines, and we're gonna replace the water system, and we're going to resurface the roads, we're gonna need money to do all of these other things. And we can only raise taxes so high. We can only continue to raise water and sewer rates so high. I've given several revenue enhancing ideas, which are fancy words for new taxes. Since I got here 4 years ago, we've implemented the streaming tax, we've implemented the vehicle parking tax, we've implemented a municipal gas tax, and all of these things have raised a significant amount of revenue to put us in a better position, but they haven't put us in a position to be able to remediate this site and to be able to pay for it. So I'm out of additional revenue enhancing ideas, and I need direction and feedback from the board. We either are gonna go with this site or this project, or we're not, and if we're not, how are we gonna pay for whatever you wanna do next?
Well, we don't know what it's gonna cost to take it down. And it's, like you said, it's gonna be up there for a few years anyway, no matter what.
We have a very good estimate, 3 to 5 million was the original estimate based on the
Which is less than what we paid for the parking garage.
yes.
Which we, you know, yes, we did come up with a new source of revenue for that, and I understand that, but it's not this insurmountable sum that's incomparable. You know,
It's not an insurmountable sum, but it just means that other things won't get done, so I will need to know if we're gonna do this, what other things do we not wanna do?
but you don't need to know that right now.
We still hold a note on the garage,
No.
right?
We have a 20-year bond on the garage
We
that
still-
needs to be repaid.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
we didn't just pay for it.
so, do we, I mean, the village would have to go in more debt, and I recall a certain trustee who ran because he was so concerned about the debt that the village held.
Correct.
I'm not trying, I'm just,
Yes.
what
the same
other
time,
what
though-
other ideas do we have? I mean, I'm in favor of moving forward with this project. I really am, if it wasn't clear before, so.
We're also looking at giving 100% of our TIF revenue back to Brinshore over the next 23 years, so what's the value in that? I mean, we could take a loan and use some of that TIF revenue to pay back a loan.
But there is
Instead
no
of giving it
revenue
all
if
to
there is no
Crenshaw.
project.
Yeah.
That's
If
what
there's
I
nothing
keep
on
trying
the-
to explain.
Yeah, if there's nothing on the property in the next 10 years, because developers don't wanna touch it because it was a former brownfield.
We go back to the drawing board.
And that's what we don't want to do, really. We have a developer here who has poured all their mind and their time into it, and they have a real plan. They're going to get rid of our nasty building. We're not going to put a bunch of money in our
Still
in our
gonna be
taxpayer.
2 to 3 years.
And I understand that, and he's being completely honest about it too. All right? We see a lot of developers come out and say whatever you want to hear, but he's being completely honest about it, and they've been completely honest this whole time. So it is a plan, and I feel like the only thing that's like debatable here is rentals versus home ownership. And I understand that debate, but if we were to look at this community as it stands already, there is tons of rentals already in there, all right? And it's not to say like negative or positive, it's just the fact that there is a lot of rental market because of the cost of housing. So it's not gonna drive down our community, it's gonna bring up our community. It's going to bring all these people in here to shop at our stores, to support our restaurants, to support everything to do the new theater we want. These are the people that are going to be using it. And we do have an option. It's on the table right now. We have someone that's very committed to it. They have a track record. And I understand there's ideas. I drew this project 3 times before I was on the board because I thought it was such a neat building. What can you save? What can you do? We all get ideas, but I'm not a developer. I can't raise the multiple millions of dollars to do my ideas, and who's going to buy them? He has the clientele, he has the track record, and it is the most feasible project we've seen come to us. Like, we're not even, the amount of money we have to put in it, it's just what we bought the building for. They're coming up with everything else. And your plan, correct, when it goes through, we're not even funding the TIF, right? You're using tax revenue to pay it back, so it's not a forward paid TIF, which at the IML conference several of us went to, they advise against, because when you pay the $5.5 million to demo the building and then the project doesn't make it, well, now what do? You have this tax revenue that you're going to have to generate somehow to pay the TIF. Well, they're going to come up with it out of their own pocket and then use the TIF to repay it. This is a really good project. I understand the moral compass that is about it. I love home ownership too. I've talked with Mike over and over again. And what I got from Mike is he would do it, but the quality of their homes are too nice and they can't make a profit off of it. Because a lot of the homes that are built now in the track world are built so cheap that that's how they make a profit, but these guys keep it for 30 years, so they don't want to replace the windows after 5 years. And when they build like that, well, they can't make a profit off the building. So it's kind of what I got out of it.
All right,
So-
let's move forward. So we'll do like an informal vote. Either we're done with Brinshore, thanks for your time, or we move forward with Brinshore, right? Keep in mind, even though if we do move forward, doesn't mean we're contractual with them. We can give up in a month, correct?
Mhm.
It's just a straw poll.
Yes. All right, so Franco, let's move forward with this.
Trustee Sauter?
Yeah, until there's a better option, I would be a yes to proceed.
To proceed?
Trustee Saviano?
I'm gonna just reluctantly say yes.
Trustee Kunzu?
I'm a no. Thank you.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Oakland?
Yes.
Trustee Guma?
No.
Okay. So, looks like we're moving forward for right now.
Right? Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for
your
your
time.
time.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, wow. We have a presentation and discussion regarding the revised Depot Park concept with White and Company. Should we order?
Just gonna get your presentation up.
Holy cow. Thanks for coming in. Okay, which one? Both. Guys, we have somebody waiting, so can we hold off with the presentation, B? Let's move forward to D. A motion to approve an ordinance, so can I?
Yeah, I'll move to approve an ordinance granting a special use permit for a restaurant with live entertainment for the property located at 315 4th Street.
Second.
Feed me up here now.
Go ahead, if you want to talk, you can talk.
No, yeah, this is just for, obviously, I wasn't even familiar with this when we first did this, I would have gone through this a year ago. But everywhere else, we've had places that basically is part of your liquor license, you can pick it up. But we need the special permit, I guess, to have any kind of, anything amplified. So it could be a guitar player, a band. I heard it's just anything across the board that has a microphone, we need a special permit, so that's what we're here for, so we can obviously move forward with those planned, obviously, activities we have for our place.
Cool.
Anybody have any questions? I was there on their opening night, they had amplified music, it wasn't crazy loud, it's not a huge place, so it's not like it's very loud, it's calm, it's a nice little area. And they talked to all the neighbors, as a matter of fact, the neighbors right next to them aren't even there on weekends, so that's nice, but.
Okay, so that was my question.
Yeah,
'Cause
we
I think
actually-
you mentioned something about on the patio, which then would, across the street, across Barrington,
Right.
and then adjacent
Yeah.
to your property. You've spoken with
Yeah,
both
and
of
the
them?
people across the street, the speakers really direct inside the building, so.
Yeah, they were
it
there.
wasn't- Yeah.
So they were there for the one, so.
Oh, they were?
The gentleman that's
Awesome.
literally on our, like, actual retaining wall,
Mhm.
we talked to him when we were building and everything, and again, this was already assumed that we'd have, at least music and live bands. Yeah, he's not there on the weekends, so he's.
He doesn't care what
he'll-
we're
That's
there.
convenient,
he'll
yeah.
fill that. Exactly. But,
And across the street?
yes, everybody's,
Okay.
yeah, no one's, everybody's been very, they've been waiting for us to open, actually, so,
Okay.
Renovations look great, by the way.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a great place.
Yeah.
Do a roll?
Trustee Sauter?
Yes.
Trustee Saviano?
Yes.
Trustee Kunzu?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Oakland?
Yes.
And Trustee Guma?
Yes.
We don't need them.
All right, so pass. Let's, we'll go, now we can go to the, presentation and discussion regarding the revised depot concept by White and Company.
All right. Well, good evening,
Do we
everyone.
need to make the official motion before we do that? This is
No,
just
this is just a
discussion.
presentation and discussion.
Okay, so.
Oh, okay,
That's-
the next one. C is the next one, okay.
You
Sorry.
good? No, totally fine. You guys ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you please put the microphone closer to you, just so we can have it on video?
Yes.
People like me that don't make it to all the meetings gotta listen to, watch.
You let me know if that's too loud or not. All right, so today we're here to share with you the revised concept for Depot Park. We have, I hopefully think we've listened well to the comments that you guys gave us last time we were here. We have a plan. We have what I'm calling Phase A and Phase B. because we were having a little confusion internally. So that's what we're calling them from now on at this point. So I do also have estimates for both the entire project and Phase A and Phase B individually. So let's get started. Here's our table of contents, so you can see what we're going to do. Obviously, our location map hasn't changed. So what we have here is our new and improved site plan. So, oh, good, it is on there. All right, so let's start down by the stage. So this would be the stage element. We do have some examples and more graphics as we get in, but first let's just talk about the plan. We would, in fact, still keep our ramp and access to the back stage. We do have a screen wall in the back of the stage to provide some division between back of stage and front of stage for events. In front of that, oh, this little mouse gets sleepy. We do have a set of stairs that would come down, and then we have a paver area in front that we like to call the dance floor. We can do a lot of things with that space. From one of our trustees, we incorporated more thoroughly the train track option into some of the paving.
That's super cool.
That's beautiful.
Right? So thanks.
Great work.
There's no egos
Like
here,
the
so.
two rails on there, are those like lined
Yes.
up at night, or-
So we would like to keep those intact. The glow rocks, I think, can be used really economically in order to accomplish that. I mean, we could spend a lot of money doing that, or we can spend not a lot of money doing that. So we're also trying to be efficient with how we recommend that you spend your money, because we understand there's not enough to go around. So we do have a series of catenary lights across the lawn space. Our mixing table location here, strategically located about 75 feet back from the stage, which is an ideal location. On both sides of the lawn, we do have some sort of decorative fencing, not necessarily to contain a full loop, but to protect the Fox River Trail folks so they don't have to dodge the pedestrians walking through, and to just contain folks from along the sidewalk, along the existing parking that will stay. Our lower area down here would be blocked off during events, so that would be our loading zone, an area for the musicians and whatnot to be able to load and unload. So that would be staging area for them and their vehicles. The large pavilion, 80 by 40, with the new pathways and theming on this, we felt like a more inline approach for that would actually make more sense, so we did modify that location. We do have a gateway on both sides, so this would follow your new standard, both on the east and west sides. On the east side here, we actually would like to incorporate a seat wall and some planting in front of that. And although we did talk about having our swings incorporated into the pavilion, I think over time that's going to be a real hassle for you guys to deal with all the time. So we kept the swings, we just moved them outside into their own space. So it's a permanent installation. You don't have to take them up, put them down all the time. It's just one less thing for you guys to worry about. So we've actually created a space for that right here. And then we've created another space for 2 pair, so 4 would be here, and they actually are facing this lawn space. So we get to have them in a variety of directions. On the west side is our fire pit and Adirondack chairs. We're thinking that this is, simply a wood burning fire pits themselves. They can be fixed in place, but they're essentially movable. The Adirondack chairs would also be there as well to bring a little color into the site. And we did add a few more tents in this space as well. So again, still 10 by 10, but we do, I can't remember how many there are. Somebody count those for me. For Meyer Street, we are showing 2-way all the way down for this whole length. And I guess finally one extra connection down to this space as well. Again, that can be modified as the other development here is moved forward with. So some additional planting spaces in the corners. We are at some point recommending that we move this curb in about 3 feet to accommodate that parking. We'll add some new street trees on here as well, so that'll create some nice shade for the space later in the evening. We have some additional planting spaces here, and then in these two corners we do have raised planters as well. So that'll also act as a little bit of seating, elevated seating there down to the bench hill itself.
Is that sound mixing station a permanent fixture, or is it?
It can be. It can also be a temporary thing. So at a minimum, I think it would make some sense to run some electrical lines from the stage and put them in an electrical box so that you can access and plug stuff in. So there are some ways that we can handle that. We've done it both ways. We've incorporated a small seat wall that actually has all the electrical connections, you know, on the upside, the north side of the wall itself, and then they would just essentially set up a temporary table and a tent if they needed. So there's a lot of ways that we can deal with that. At this point in time, we're thinking that it's just a location for the tables to be set up. But you know, throwing some conduits in the ground and having a couple of handholds and junk boxes is not a big addition. So that's an easy way to do that.
The railroad tracks, if you will, is that concrete, is that gravel?
It is concrete.
I was just thinking because the sitting, it's where everybody's gonna be sitting.
Yes.
If we put that lights or that glowing in there, is that gonna keep people from sitting there?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Do you know, so the area between the gazebo, or whatever we call the thing in the middle, and the stage,
Yes.
what kind of, have you guys done calculations to know like what sort of capacity that would comfortably hold as far as number of people?
Yes, we have. It should hold about 500 folks.
Just in the grass area?
Yes. So just in this zone here.
Right.
What are we doing as far as barriers on, the west side is easy because it's up a hill, but on the east side, keep cars from deciding they want to drive through there into 500 people sitting there?
Well, we do have this raised planter here. We did have some fencing or a barrier of some sort at this location along the sidewalk and then here as well. So other than the connection points to the sidewalk that's along the parking stalls.
That's just my thing, because right now we just shut down the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to have to keep relying on Public Works every weekend or whatever, just to keep putting up barriers to prevent people from doing that.
Do they make like a bollard that can be pulled up?
Yep, they make them.
Yes, and we can certainly add those.
We were looking at them to do them for here.
Yeah.
Okay. We came up with this.
You think we should do one of those planter seat walls along that side?
We could. But I think,
That's what we kind of have in place right now, is
Right.
some of the planters that are, I think they're car-proof or meant to stop cars.
Yeah, they're pretty spread out though.
yeah. I mean, we could put bollards along there. You know, security bollards would have a concrete foundation essentially that runs all together below grade.
Well, depending the layout of your fence posts too, they could be a higher grade.
They could.
Yeah.
There's also, you know, ornamental aluminum fencing with wire that runs through it. That's more of a security fence.
I do wonder, what about
So-
the curb at the street level?
Well, that would still be a,
What's that?
That's what, on the east side there, that's what I was talking about,
Mm,
on River Street.
there would still be a standard B612 curb along all the parking along here. We would depress it at the crosswalks like it would be today. So, but we would anticipate here that would be a standard B612 curb as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think as long as there's something to keep cars from driving in there. That was one of the chief's points on the
Yes.
last meeting.
And that is part of the reason why we made this arched gateway have a low seat wall behind, so that'll be masonry. And we did have a little curb with some planting in that the swings then set into. So a little more substantial.
And then is there need for a fence or something that could, like we have our temporary fences we put up for every event. Would we use those along this park, or would there be a need to add more permanent fencing so that we don't have to as often do that? Or put up less of it?
That's what I was thinking, is if we have the barriers up, it should be good, because the parking will be all around that. We won't have to block off streets or anything.
Correct.
The only thing we'll be blocking off is cars from driving through.
Yeah.
And logistically, that would be a lot nicer for parking to have that. We still might have to shut it down for a code request.
Yeah.
Okay, what else
So
you got
right
for us?
now, in between River and Myers Street, where the pavilion is situated right now,
Yes.
we don't allow, do we allow parking along that street? No, right now, so we aren't losing any parking by closing off that street. It's more access. I really like what you've done. I'm concerned about the amount of hardscape in total over the project. I like the dance floor, I like some access, but then again, all the hardscape from Meyer to River along that street and under the pavilion it's just a lot. And I'm wondering, based on the amount of, if by having as many of the walkways, you are limiting the amount of capacity, if there's a way to take out, one section of something and then still keep the flavor of the overall design so that we have a little bit more green space.
Okay.
Then thank you for adding the screening, the
Behind the
video-
stage, the screen wall.
the
Mhm.
screen wall. Is that movable so it would be open, or would that be a permanent?
Currently, we have it priced as a fixed entity. That's essentially just surface mounted. It's a metal panel that's decorative.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so it's about 6 feet tall, so it isn't going to completely hide the, backstage activities, but it will allow for some storage, and, there's always a lot of stuff going on backstage during events, so.
And then for the whole sound system and things like that, that's included in this?
We do have allowances for those things,
Okay.
yes.
And then those would obviously be secured when there wasn't.
Yes, we can include a cabinet that's lockable, like an electrical cabinet.
Yeah. I'm not sure about I'm also not sure about the fire pits.
Okay.
Just if that's gonna be a safety issue, and more trouble than it's really worth, in the end.
Did you say those are wood burning fire pits?
Yes, McHenry has some along their riverfront and that. They seem to, they're managed, obviously.
Yeah.
But it is, a fairly simple way during events to allow for some camaraderie and
Yeah.
marshmallow roasting.
I like the idea of it as,
Yeah.
as somebody that would be going to it.
Yeah.
As a part of the village that would be responsible for any kind of mishap or safety issue that somebody might want to frivolously sue the village for. I have a little concern about that.
Okay.
What about gas?
Yeah, I almost feel like gas would be
Because
better.
Algonquin does gas.
Okay.
You go throwing stuff, people, I
Less
don't want people
maintenance,
throwing
no
it.
wood.
The city of Geneva has a fireplace in their downtown, excuse me, on Third Street, and they just run they have an active flame,
That's what Algonquin does too.
pretty much.
DC Cobb's has a fire pit. that
My
runs
thought
out
is
of
if you
gas.
leave it with wood, people are gonna be throwing junk in it, and who knows if it's gonna pop and blow up on somebody.
Yeah.
We did that a lot in the Marine Corps with peanut butter, so. Sorry.
At least with the gas, it's a fixed flame, a height.
And they could have a setback too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
even if, You know,
Yeah, it would be a fix.
oh, somebody put too much wood in, the flame's 6 feet high now.
Right. Don't burn your Christmas trees in January, right? That would be a hazard.
We've been
Are you
complaining
still
about
talking?
stacks of wood in that, near that area for how long, so.
It could also be a temporary thing during events as well, so,
Okay.
I mean, it wouldn't, if you didn't want to have them up all the time,
Yeah.
I like what Kathleen brought up about I like the grass. Where 12 is, that X, I realize we want to keep ADA, but can we make the sidewalk closer to the stage, maybe a little wider or something, and then take that X out so we have more green space?
this X here,
Yeah, what do you guys think? I mean, I like the grass. I like that grass, but.
Real quick, it's somewhat deceiving because where all those tents are, those aren't always gonna be up, and that's a huge green space right
Right.
there. It doesn't look like it in this picture.
Yeah,
I'll always-
I agree with you, but when you look at the size of that parking lot, and when you take about a third to a half of it and you put a stage on it, there's not that much, that
Correct.
space is not that big. And then you put in, the pavilion, and that isn't, it's not.
bless you.
So you're talking
We've
about,
tried so hard to get green space there.
Getting
Right.
rid of-
For how long? And now we're just gonna pave it all over.
We're
Where's
not gonna
Joni
pave it
Mitchell?
all over.
Paradise and put up a parking lot.
Unless it's a golf
Now,
cart path.
I'll
The,
tell you,
the hardscape and the pavers that are underneath the pavilion in the center, basically where Railroad Street, where we're closing, when you're having an event and half the town comes, you're gonna want more paving than what's there.
Yeah.
Because the grass is gonna get muddy.
How wide are those?
Oh, yeah, under the
They're,
pavilion,
I believe they're 10
absolutely.
feet wide.
Well, plus food under the pavilion and all
You
that.
know, absolutely, I agree. Under
Okay.
the pavilion, it should be hardscape.
Okay.
It's just more in that green area between the pavilion and the stage, you know, to kind of break it up a little bit differently. Still maintaining the beautiful idea that you've got, but right now you've got like three running across, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there a way to do the geometry slightly differently? So.
Or thin the pathways, because I like how that looks, and I like being able to have a walkway through a crowd of people. I'm one of the people that I don't like density of walking through this vast, like, group of people in a lawn. I like the walkways through it, it separates it, but if it's thinner, then that.
We could make
Just throwing
it
another idea.
8 feet instead of 10. One of the reasons why I do like the paving in that particular space is it also doubles for, you know, if you want to have your farmer's market, you can have an extended, you know, art show or other vendors along that space, not necessarily concert related, but so it gives you a lot of opportunity to have and use the space in a lot of different ways. We certainly can minimize the width. I think that would help some. But because it's all flush, when you're having an event, people will, you know, maybe the main sidewalk down the center you keep open, but the rest of them, people will just sit on top of or put their chairs there. Right.
I mean, I went to the Hoffman's amphitheater that's in the grass, but it has rings of pavement at every level. And there's like a ring of pavement and then more than that of grass behind it and then
Yep.
another ring of pavement. And I'd say 90% of the people set up all their chairs on the pavement
First.
because they don't want to be in the bugs crawling on their legs
Right.
and getting bit by things. So I think some people will choose the cement. We did as well.
It depends on the day for me. I'm about 50-50. So,
Gives options.
any other questions for now? Okay.
so what's the final verdict?
Oh, I'm not done yet. Hold on a second.
As far as the concrete paths,
I think they're just gonna stay as it is right now.
What about incorporating some green space into where you have fireplaces?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Because you could take both of those paths out and make
Yeah.
that whole thing green.
Yeah.
And if we wanted to do a permanent fireplace there, you could just have some kind of seating that would allow to sit around it without having,
Like a big circle of bench.
yeah, something built in.
It kind of makes sense with the tree lawn and everything else.
What if we got rid of the northern parts of the X? Can you run your mouse over that?
this
So-
and this.
Yep, those two, made that all grass, and kept the southern parts of the X.
It kind of takes away
Does that give you?
the whole
Not as
concept.
pretty.
It's hard to cut across if you're
Dimensional.
trying to
Get
walk
you
from
more
one
green
end to the
space.
other.
Right.
I know,
Poor
I know.
guys, we don't want to decorate.
Well, they have direction, so maybe they
Yeah.
can come up with a couple options
Sure.
and we can pick one that we
Okay,
like.
perfect. Yeah, we don't need to solve this for them.
Tonight.
They came up with a great option based on the direction we gave them last time.
Perfect.
Do the phases, right?
Cool.
Phases, okay. So I think most of the imagery we've already shared before, but again, this is in your packet, so you can kind of see what each space might feel like. We'd really like to add some color with the Adirondack chairs, if possible. There's your standard gateway sign, the swings themselves. So that image in the lower right-hand corner, we've just got them in pairs though, built together two at a time. So they'll have a little cover over the top. So we like that look. We could do a fireplace like that instead, if something like that is more to your liking.
Super cool.
I was thinking over a round one, round seating all the way around it, you can see the fire pit from all over.
Okay?
A see-through one? Yeah, I like that.
Just a round big pit gas. that
Oh,
people
yeah.
can see and walk around.
All right.
Get more seating around it, yeah.
Yep.
I like that.
Okay.
More community oriented.
All right, so this starts to talk about some of the elevated seat wall planters, some of our inspirational images for the pavilion itself. We are starting to talk with the manufacturer to help us come up with some ideas to help reinforce our train depot theme that we're working with. So we will move through that in the next phase of the project, so don't think we're going to stop here. There's more to come as we continue down the road. And then we did also include, I think everyone is starting to lean towards the upper left-hand corner for the stage, if that's what I'm remembering correctly. But again, all these decisions can be made in that's part of the next step in design development. The upper right-hand corner is an example of what the screen wall would be at the back of the stage. So these metal panels, we could put whatever we want on them. We can do a custom, logo for East Dundee. We can make them fancy, do whatever we want with them.
I like having both buildings have that rounded
Mhm.
top
Me too.
to kind of continue, like that top right one looks
Yep.
kind of like projecting sound and feels kind of majestic.
And it's not too closed in.
Mhm.
I'm with it, Andy.
Perfect. And then just talking about some of the lighting options to help manage pedestrian traffic and create ambiance on the site. And then the upper left-hand corner is an example of the glow rocks. Now we have to, we need to work with a contractor to get them right so they can, essentially build a template so that as they drop the rocks in place, they're straighter. But it comes in a variety of sizes, from like sand up to, I think, a 1/4-inch stone. It's pretty cool stuff.
Super cool.
So I think we can do some fun things with that as well. Some of the paving patterns we might integrate into the rest of the site underneath the pavilion area. Okay, so here's phase 8. All right, so That gets us a functional stage, it gets us our dance floor, the ramp in the back, and essentially completes the improvements right around the stage itself. So we would have open grass the rest of the way, the rest of the site would remain as is. And that,
And right now, there's no sidewalk on the east side.
on the east side,
Right, so that's fine.
okay, well, maybe we could squeeze that in. Maybe Phil could build that for me. You build me a sidewalk?
Sure.
Sure, he says. You guys heard it here.
Phil's
get our
doing
stage,
improv, yes.
So there's a line on the back of that stage. Is there gonna be a separate room, like a storage room or like
There's
a
not.
dressing room or something
Nope,
like that?
it's open. Yes. Did you have a question?
We were just talking, we could deal without the sidewalk for phase A.
For, right.
Let's get this.
Right, so Phase A, we have at like 1.6 million, which does include our fees that we've already shared with you. And we were trying really hard to get that as small as possible. I know it's not quite as low as, yeah. We can do unfun things like take off the dance floor, we can get rid of the stairs in front. I mean, we can, we'll always add that on.
If the dance floor shouldn't be on the same phase as all of the walkways, otherwise it's gonna have this kind of pointy looking surface that maybe looks like it's missing something.
We could just put a temporary walk in, across, this
Rectangular.
way,
Yeah.
just in front of the stage, or, I struggle with connecting it to the Fox River Trail, and if we don't have a sidewalk over here, it doesn't quite make sense. So maybe we just put a small landing in front at the bottom of the steps and call it a day.
Yeah.
Does that price include all the electronic speakers, stuff like that?
It has allowances for some, which is why it went up from the last time we were here. So it is an educated guess, but our projector, screen, and speakers, we have a $50,000 allowance for that. And, hold on. We do have a new electrical service, 400 amp three-phase electrical service for the stage included as well. We have another $25,000 for lights in the band shell. So we've got about $75,000 to play with for PA, speaker, some lighting.
What was the number again? I'm sorry. I didn't-
1.6.
So now that we have sort of a scope of Phase A and Phase B with an identified estimate of Phase A, the village president and I have been talking with a couple of donors and trying to seek some funding for this for next year. And the donors have been requesting, what is it actually going to cost? Because they have some interest in assisting with the cost of this in exchange for naming rights or, sponsorship opportunities.
Okay.
And if the board decides to approve this contract to actually engineer the project, then we will have a project that we can then take back to our prospective donors to seek additional funding for if the village board thinks that that's a good idea. So
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
we talked also about splitting the sponsorship of the stage and the pavilion. So one person could sponsor the pavilion, one person could sponsor the stage. Or if the two sponsors that we've identified have interest in sponsoring the entire park, then they would have to participate at a higher dollar level of involvement.
It was a great idea you guys had on that, so.
I actually got it from Trustee Guma.
Oh.
Good job.
Credit
Nicely
where it's
done.
due.
Nice
job.
teamwork, you guys.
But I made it sound like it was my own.
It's all right.
But in no scenario are we
Nice
renaming
shot.
the park as that. It would just be like the something pavilion or the
Yeah.
something stage.
Right.
So, is the donation for a portion of the cost or for?
We haven't come up with anything We didn't even have a cost yet.
Okay.
Right.
So if the board agrees with this, that we can move forward, then we will start figuring out and setting up meetings and going forward with it.
Okay.
I mean, when you're calling it engineering, but that is it also design and
Yes.
engineering? Yeah.
So we would consider this schematic design or conceptual design. So the contract that we've shared with you, I believe that's on your agenda for today, takes us from design development through construction documents, bidding, and then helping oversee construction.
And this number for the engineering includes refinements?
Yes. Oh, yeah. This is a cartoon. It's going to change a little every time we meet.
Right.
So yes, definitely refinements.
Okay.
That's all part of the process. So, yes, sir.
I'm concerned about your numbers for the speakers.
Well,
So you said 50,000 for the video wall,
yep.
which sounds about accurate. I'm in that business. So
Okay.
I can guess at some of these numbers. 25,000 for lighting.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna go real quick.
We're not doing giant stage lighting. It's
And you have 0 for sound. Well, at least you didn't mention that.
fair enough.
What are we getting with a video wall?
Wasn't it
Well, what I've included, it's not a video screen. It's a
Projection.
projection screen.
So that you can do movies in the park.
Right.
So, projection screens and projectors are old technology. The new technology is LED panels,
Yeah.
like a video wall that you can scale to whatever size you want. There's no projector with a light bulb or, that kind of
People walking across
old,
it.
old technology. So, I don't know if that's what you had in mind.
I was being very conscious of the budget that we were told to follow. So I'm
50,000.
So I'm trying very hard to meet all your criteria for this first phase and still make it affordable.
Is there
So
anything built in for sound?
I was looking back and I just have projector screen speakers at 50,000. Now that's got contingencies in it, so that probably really ends up being about 75,000 all said and done, because it's just how we do things
Now,
nowadays.
when we're talking speakers, it's speakers for a band or speakers for the projector?
Both.
Both.
Both. So when we met last time, you talked about having some control and management of the sound levels and the output. Some of your local smaller bands didn't have the equipment that they really needed, so that would help support them. But if you had an act come in that had their own system, they can just set that up themselves. So they would probably want to add to it anyways. So
We added this season to the Thursdays, all of the sound rental that we had before, simply because either people weren't prepared to be able to have a sound system that large.
correct.
Plus, we wanna, be able to control it, control the directionality of it, so it's the least impact, best outcome for guests that are coming and the least impact on residents.
Right.
Well put.
Now, I don't disagree that the system we have included in this is not current technology. So I'm with you on that. But if we're going to include more, we either need to increase the budget or we need to take something else out. It could always be included in Phase B if we're not ready to do that yet. And we can help you work through all those details. It's what we do all day, every day. So
You guys sub that out?
we do have consultants that we use for that piece. And we did talk with them about, it's not, we use them on the Orland Park stage that we just did for them, and they did all the speakers and system for that, and it's like, it's less than that. Because they were like, you need like $200,000. I'm like, it can't be $200,000. So it has to be less.
Does the Carpentersville stage have a sound system built into it?
No.
Just electrical, but no built-in speakers.
I mean, if we wanna get this thing built, phase one, and
Worry-
then dress
worry
it
about
up
the sound later.
phase two with the video and
Yeah.
the sound, maybe that's not a bad idea, but,
Yeah.
just a thought. Just because that's gonna help control price, that's all.
Correct.
Or-
So-
or
Let's see how much money we get from our donors.
Right?
Or, yeah, or as it's built, like make accommodations for those improvements
Right.
later,
Exactly.
if they're not executed in phase
Correct.
A.
That's also something that's
Right.
Yeah. the-
reasonably inexpensive and easy to do.
We
So,
obviously want to get the stage up and condense everybody into the park area.
Yes.
Get more parking, allow our businesses to stay open.
Yes.
All day, every day.
right.
Hopefully this will generate more money for the village itself with tax revenue, so. Yeah, it's not a bad idea to wait with the sound system,
Well, then we
because
can
if
wait
we
and
have to supplement anyway,
Like, what are we doing now? We rent a sound system?
It's rented with the
We rent
stage,
a sound
from the
system
same
with the
stage
stage.
people.
Like the band brings their own usually, don't they?
So it's one of
We've
the
been-
other.
Some of them, I think,
Not
do,
anymore, I
but
used to.
Oh,
And do you know roughly what we spend to rent
I don't
the
have
sound
that in
system?
front of me.
I think it
I
was.
think there was an
I think
email
it was-
circulated.
It was like 3,500,
Yeah.
each time.
3,500 per week
Okay.
for the
So
stage
per Thursday,
and the sound
Thursday.
system
Per event.
Prevent.
per
But-
event.
But the wind down Wednesdays were cheaper though, because we did less.
Right.
Yes, because we don't rent a stage or a sound system for that. The bands bring their own. Is that right, or?
I think it's in the
Correct me.
bi-weekly that we brought out a couple months ago. I'll pull that back up and send it
Okay.
back again.
But just having our own stage, we can rent it out for weddings, whatever.
yes,
So, and we can do more events also.
absolutely.
And a lot of our businesses downtown are even asking, can they pay for a band and do more Thirsty Thursdays? Well, this makes it easier for us, so we don't have to use our public works to shut everything down. So,
Right.
Yeah, I say we wait on projection and sound.
I agree. Just get it rolling the stage.
could we get a phase A and AB and just like have it in case the donors are like, stretch goal is, let's just do it, but we can cut it back if we need to?
We will
can always
work with
add.
you to
Yeah.
accommodate whatever extra funding you guys manage to
Yeah, I
get,
don't
so.
mind leaving it behind.
More?
More? Yes, we can help you with that.
I'd rather wait and then maybe get an LED wall or whatever that's like more 2025
I
than
can
like
go to Costco and
1972.
buy 100.
Yeah.
All right, well, that'll bring us to C.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll move to approve a resolution approving an agreement with Light and Company for Phase 2 professional services for a multipurpose soundstage at 120 Railroad Street.
Second,
All right, let's do a roll call.
Trustee Sauter,
yes.
Trustee Saviano,
Yes.
Trustee Kunzuk,
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney,
Yes.
Trustee Oakland,
Yes.
and Trustee Guma.
Yes.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank
We
you.
look forward
Thank you
to
so much.
working with you guys.
Thanks for all your hard work.
No problem.
Yeah.
It's a fun project to work on, so.
Liaison for the sound and.
I can do that.
When we get there.
The nice part
Okay.
too.
Sure.
Moving right along quickly, I'll entertain a motion for E.
I'll make a motion to approve an ordinance amending Title 7 of the Village Code regarding parking regulations.
Second.
All right, did you want to talk more about it, Caleb, or?
No,
Did
I'm
everybody
just
review
here.
it?
I'm just here if there's any questions.
Any questions for Caleb? We already have a second. All right, let's do a roll call. What, did you have
One question.
Whoa, not so fast. Slow your roll,
Let's
President.
try.
I appreciate that.
Whoa,
Because on the map that showed where we're putting no parking with the red lines, we mentioned Second Street where we go around that new park and making it no parking. Is the justification saying we want to have cars very easily flowing through that new thing as a new artery, I guess?
Correct.
Does it
Because,
feel
oh, go ahead, sorry.
like one side
straightforward to
parked
me.
on would maybe have a traffic calming effect, so would that be worth doing instead of saying, here's the way to skirt around this and funnel people down Water Street still, to make it so that you do have to go a little bit slow around it, so that just residents who live in that area don't mind doing that, but through traffic, looking at point A to point B studies, like from Hoffman to No Manches on 31 tells you to take Water Street as a cut through instead of going on 31. So there's a lot of things that are the exact same time to cut through there that I feel like the more we can slow down on 2nd Street, Barrington, and Van Buren, the more it'll push people to the main arteries.
Yeah. Well, to answer your question, yes, that was the thinking because of the Water Street Improvement Project and the new kind of traffic flow. That was staff and all the departments that I've been working with, that was the recommendation, to no parking on both sides to allow for that kind of no congestion. But if the board would like, there, you know, the ordinance can be amended, or we can come back and do another ordinance. I'll have some future parking amendments coming, and so we could add that in if we wanted to make that change.
I got a feeling once we put this in place, there might be changes in the future anyway. Things that we didn't see.
Yes.
Any other questions,
I have
comments?
a question.
Sure.
I don't understand the difference or the purpose between these two charts, the
current?
overnight
Yes.
parking currently in the code and then how it's enforced.
Yes, great
Explain
question.
that.
Yes, so basically, kind of the start of this whole project was our code. There's a lot of gaps in the code, and we were trying to articulate that visually through these maps. With the overnight parking specifically, the one is what's in the code, the one that says current code, and then the enforcement is actually how we currently enforce overnight parking. But it is not in the code.
Got it.
So that is how we currently operate, but it's
Right.
not codified.
And so then the way the new map would be is going to be closer to what we currently enforce?
Correct.
or-
So,
okay.
so the currently enforced, that's what this code represents.
Okay.
So
That's
it's
very
act-
helpful, thank
yeah.
you.
More than better. Anything else?
So I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
So it's not going to be necessarily extra burden on the police department to enforce more area than they currently do right now. It's just housekeeping, right?
Yes. I don't
And
want to
cleaning up the code.
I
So
don't
you-
know when this changed, we stopped writing overnight tickets downtown, so people didn't drink and drive a long time ago.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then
Absolutely great.
Caleb tells me, oh, the ordinance never changed, right? It's a shock to me.
Right, so
We
then,
completely stopped doing it.
yeah.
I don't know if you were selling.
Wasn't that when Lael was here? I think I remember that when it changed.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
10 years ago. probably.
Yeah.
Long.
I had a big gap. I had a big 6-year gap.
Sure, I understand.
So, anyway, yeah, cool. That's all my questions.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Anyone else? All right, roll call.
Trustee Sauter,
Yes.
Trustee Saviano,
Yes.
Trustee Kunze,
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney,
Yes.
Trustee Oakland,
Yes.
and Trustee Guma.
Yes.
Thank you to everyone who was involved. I know this is a beast.
Hey,
Yes, thank you.
Andy, you want to start off with reports?
Yes, no report.
No report.
No report.
Two quick things. It's quick.
I think I just said it fast too.
I gotta find it. I want to congratulate Chief and the whole police department on applying for and receiving the less lethal grant of
Yeah.
$21K. Do you? I hate to put you on the spot, but do you know if that's going to cover the complete replacement cost, or is that just partial?
I think it's partial.
Okay. Every little bit
Every little
helps.
bit helps, absolutely.
And then congratulations to Franco on his well-deserved and
Oh, yes.
hard-earned promotion. That's it.
No report.
Right?
Just a question. I've been missing our budget talks. When are we gonna get back to that? Okay. That's all. No report.
Do we get dinner?
Phil, you got anything? Brandon? Joe?
Chief,
If I can offer a couple of suggestions real quick on the depot parking. Lighting has been a problem on Meyer Street over there. On Meyer Street since it happened, there is no lighting. I was asking when I was on night shift for lighting. I don't know if that could be roped in, I know it's more cost, but when we did the parking study with the committee, that was a huge concern.
Where at specifically?
So Meyer Street, right where the Deuce is, you know,
In the parking lot down below?
Yeah, there is no street light. Well, I think that's gonna all come with the lumberyard development. And I don't have the bigger picture, I'm just
Yeah.
food for thought kind
Yeah.
of thing from me, with that. I don't know how long that's gonna take.
Is it a problem where temporarily you would need, do you feel like something should be there for safety?
Great.
Okay.
There were points where employees didn't wanna walk from the restaurants to the parking garage because they didn't feel safe,
We should.
because there's no light.
She's right.
So,
She's all over it.
You're
Awesome.
talking about the lower part, right?
yeah, the lower part, or even if you're on the bike path.
It is dark.
No lighting along the bike path there?
Yeah.
It's not great, no.
Because there's the bollard lights right along the depot where the depot park is, but in the new part, you're saying,
Yes.
in the new part, there isn't
I
any.
don't know if the lighting that they're proposing is gonna be decorative, or if it's gonna be illuminated.
Not on the budget.
I know, listen, I get it, I'm just giving you something to think about, and
Yep.
I don't wanna be, 10 years from now, you're going, why didn't you say anything?
Yeah.
I said something. And then the other way is to control people coming in and out of the events. I don't know if the planning of the party committee, it's the same thing, right? Where you
It's a
can,
great name.
It's considered how to keep the alcohol and food in and out. I don't know if there's a. Those are ongoing discussions. Okay.
Totally.
Yeah, right now, we've got it pretty well controlled by the fencing and
Yes.
and just the two exit and exit points, entrance and exit points, which this is gonna open up a lot more, so it's a good, we wanna take a look at the, plan to see if we would need to add more on, or if it's part of the plan, permanent plan, or if there's some happy medium in between the two.
Chris?
Caleb?
This Saturday is the last Depot Market, and it's a family fun event.
All right.
No report.
How about you, Erica?
No report.
Thank you to Trustee Mahoney for covering me the past couple times while I've been gone. I do have a question. We have holidays coming up. We do Christmas lights in our downtown area? Do we do a Christmas tree lighting ceremony? Stuff
Oh,
like
honey, we're all over that.
All right, that's what I wanted to hear. All right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say it that way. That was really disrespectful.
All right.
I'm so sorry.
That's all I got. Thank
Had a
you,
window
everybody.
into our emails.
All right, and I don't believe we have anything for the executive session, correct? Okay, then let's get a motion to adjourn.
So
moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing
Thanks,
none, motion
everyone.
carries.
So, you've been scattered all around.
That's tonight.
Um,
I do like how we can try out that stage
They put up